Hello and welcome to the latest edition of Sobriety Life with me, Richie Crook. And today's subject we are going to talk about is alcohol. We sort of touched on addiction on our last program. On this program, we're just going to sort of just look at alcohol itself. And sort of the effects it has on us, and just look a little bit deeper into it. It's not going to be as long, this video, as the last video, because that went on a bit for about half an hour. But we're just going to look at alcohol itself and sort of just delve into a few things, really. So, first and foremost, like I say on every episode, I am not an expert, I'm not professionally trained. So these are just my views on addiction and alcohol addiction, and sort of my experiences over the years, past 30 odd years, with suffering from this shit disease. So alcohol itself. Alcohol has got to be, well, it is fact, the only drug that is legal out there. So it's the only drug that's actually legal where you can buy it at a shop, a supermarket. Motorway services, which I find is crazy and didn't help me in any way, shape or form, because it just was so easily available. It's cheap. I mean, compared to sort of other countries like Norway, Sweden, Scandinavia, France. I mean, in England it is relatively cheap from the supermarkets, but when you're going out to buy a pint from the pub, what you're looking at, £5-6 a pint now. At supermarket, if you weigh it up, the cans, you can get a can of Stella for about £1, which is not good for us alcoholics or anyone who's suffering from alcohol disorder syndrome. So yeah, you look at alcohol, and because the government makes so much money on alcohol and on the taxes and on the VAT and on the revenue of alcohol, it's allowed to be openly promoted through football shirts. I'm not too sure if it's still on the football shirts anymore. But adverts, I mean, it's cool to drink in adverts. You see Carlsberg, probably the best in the world. You just, it is sort of like hyped up to be a great thing. But, it is rammed down your throat from a pretty early age, which it was to me. I mean, alcohol was always sort of, the stress relief, the wind down. But really, if you look into it deeper, alcohol is a depressant. So it's not actually giving you the high that you think it is, and also alcohol really does get you into trouble if you if you abuse it the wrong way. I mean, you just look at when kick out time at a pub or at a nightclub, you see how many fights and scraps are going on in the street. Again, would these people be doing this if they wasn't drinking? I suggest not. Alcohol turns people in from Jackal to Hyde, so what they're doing is they're acting out a character. Next morning, I'd imagine they're full of guilt, shame, remorse, and a lot of the time, in my experience, it was, what did I do last night? Thinking to yourself, am I going to get a tap on the door? Ringing around your friends, asking what the hell happened last night, all because of, the word alcohol, really. And there's always something I say to people, which is, if somebody offered you a glass of arsenic, would you drink it? And I think the answer is going to be no, because it'd kill you. If somebody offered you a glass of cyanide, would you drink it? You say, fuck off, Rich, of course I'm not going to drink that. If someone offered you a glass of alcohol, would you drink it? Yes, you would. But alcohol is a poison. Fact, it's a poison. It's a poisonous substance. So we are putting poison into our body, because alcohol is pure ethanol, and it's just a percentage goes down as you have it in your drinks, whatever. You could have the spirits at 40%, 50%, whatever, and a beer might be 4%, 5%, 6%. When you go on the continent, it might be even higher, sometimes 8%, 9%, which is why we get so pissed in places like France or places like that, because their alcohol, their beers and their lagers are a lot stronger than ours. And before you know it, you could be falling asleep at the bar or trying to take on the whole French revolution, you know. So alcohol is a poison, but we choose to put it into our bodies because we think it's morally accepted. You know, it's the cool thing to do. But what you need to remember is alcohol is a poison, and just be careful. And you know, you see these people that are being sick in the street and they are, you know, projectile vomiting or on their hands and knees saying they can't see straight. That basically is alcohol poisoning. So they've taken so much alcohol, they've probably not drunk any water in between drinks, and all of a sudden the alcohol has taken over their senses, their sort of nervous system, so they are incapacitated, so they can't actually do the normal things that their brain wants them to do. So that's just a little bit of a taster on alcohol. We will delve into it a bit deeper as the programs go on, but it is definitely something that I feel strongly about. That, I mean, I think the kids of today, I mean, when I say kids, I mean the younger age group of today, are not like my age group for when I was growing up, where it was really pushed on us. It was on every advert, every football shirt. And nowadays, I think the youth, or the sort of late teenagers, early 20s, people are tending not to drink as much. And there's a lot, well, back 20, 30 years ago, there was only ever one alcoholic lager on the market, which was, I'm sure a lot of you will remember, was Caliber. And if you was laying off the beer for a while, you drink your Calibers. But these days, there's absolutely hundreds of non-alcoholic beers and wines and spirits in the supermarkets, which I think is great because it just gives people the choice. And you know, hopefully people are going to be a little bit more educated in 10 years time about the effects alcohol can have. You know, and you have to ask yourself, how do we overcome the alcohol problem, which is killing one person every minute in the world? Alcohol, people are dying of alcohol every minute. One every minute in the world, which is a shocking statistic. And I think we just need to be more educated, pass that on to our children. You know, they can pass it on and pass it on. And you know, I don't think a total ban is necessary because people enjoy a glass of wine, people enjoy a cider when it's a nice hot day, and fair play to them. You know, fair play if they can do that. You know, if they can have a couple of beers and then go home, that's great. Unfortunately, I can never do that. I could do it back along years ago to a certain degree, but you know, you look at people now and they can quite easily go out, have a couple of drinks with their dinner, and then they go home and they feel great. That's brilliant. I love, you know, I don't condone any of that. I think it's superb that people can sort of control their drinking. But for me, one drink leads to two drinks lead to three, and so on and so on. And before I know it, I'm a mess and can't function properly. So for me, sobriety is the life, as they say in the podcast, sobriety life. And if you want to subscribe, please hit subscribe on YouTube or TikTok. And you can contact me on support@sobrietylife.org. That's support on sobrietylife.org. If you want to drop me an email, drop me any kind of questions and answers, or you want to give me a fact to read out in my next podcast, then please do so. So that's support@sobrietylife.org. And the website will be up and running soon, and we're going to look at different things on the website. I'll put literature on there, I'll put facts, and I'll put like just sort of like the you know, what we've been discussing about during the podcast. But again, every podcast we should start seeing the studio getting a little bit better. I've just had the picture fall down in the background, so that'll be one for the YouTube. So anyway, so I'll leave you there. Remember, support@sobrietylife.org, or please click subscribe and like, and pass on the message for Sobriety Life. Thank you very much, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye.